So a little bit about me is that I am a chiropractor. I've been in practice for about 12 years. I work with my husband, Seth, who I am so thankful to be on this journey together. We have 3 awesome kids. So we have a 8-year-old daughter, Laura. We have a 6-year-old son, Jacob, and we have a 3-year-old, our little spunky princess, and she is in her 3s. My daughter is a replica of my husband. My son is little me, and when he comes in the room, he smiles, and it's like, oh, Jacob. And our daughter is a mix of us, and we don't know where she got her feistiness from. My husband says maybe it's from me, but I don't know. But I am a daughter to a farmer, and so my dad taught me the value of hard work. And when you're raised on the farm, who has either grew up on a farm or has farming background? Anyone here? Man, it changes your perspective. When I was raised with a dad who, man, his work ethic is like no other. And I will say something that he did teach me to drive a semi. Now, I don't use that skill right now, but I'm very thankful that I have that. And so, why I'm a chiropractor? I'm standing in front of you because of my mom. So, my mom had a life-changing experience by seeing a chiropractor. So my mom was the little girl that had headaches, that she would leave school. She'd get headaches often and have to come home from school. Eventually, as she got older, they started turning into migraines. Those migraines would take her out, and she'd be on the couch for a couple days. My parents got married. They both were 19, so that was, when you got married then. I got married, had a couple kids. My dad got into farming, so bought my grandpa out. And my mom lived in survival mode. So she'd get these headaches, and eventually they got so bad where they would be turning into migraines often. And it really screwed with my mom's life. That was not a good season. When my mom, even to this day, talks about it, it was a lot of suffering. And my mom had little kids. So when you're on the couch for 3 days, you feel like a failure as a mother. And my parents' marriage was rough, all of that. My mom tried getting to the root of it. So she went to doctors, she took prescription medications, over the counters, nothing was getting to the root of it. Finally, a friend told my mom, she said, you should see a chiropractor. And my mom, she didn't really know many people who did that. She went in, started getting adjusted. Over time, my mom started getting less headaches. And over time, those headaches stopped turning into migraines. And eventually, my mom didn't have headaches and migraines. And that was the shift of my mom into the world of health. Eventually, she brought all 4 of us kids in. She became friends with this chiropractor and his wife, and he talked about how he adjusted his 2 boys, and she was like, oh, and that's interesting, and shared the benefits of that, and so brought us kids in, we got adjusted. And now today, I am a chiropractor. My sister is also a chiropractor. So now she has 2 chiropractors. My sister practices in my hometown, which is about 3 hours from here, southwest part of Minnesota, is where my dad farms. And then my 2 brothers are engineers. They're now not using their degree. They are now farming with my dad. So the overview of this evening. So my intentions are 4 things tonight. Number 1 is I want to share with you some wisdom, and particularly one gem of wisdom that a mentor of mine shared with me. Number 2, I want to share with you about the key to health, and that is the brain. So I'm going to share with you some neuroscience tonight. The third thing is I want to share with you common mistakes that I see of patients that we see at Thrive. I'm going to share what those mistakes are, and I don't want you guys to make those same mistakes. And then the last thing is I'm going to share with you stories. I'm going to share real life stories of patients that made changes to their life and solved hard problems. Before I do that, I want to thank my team. So Lacey, let them show. So this is Lacey. She's behind the scenes. She doesn't need any of the credit. Yes, thank you. Let's All right, she's sitting right there, you guys. And my husband. You know what? Let's have he's right here too. And Jean is in the back. She's been a patient for 10 years. We were talking like, how long have I seen? Before I even had kids, Jean is helping tonight. So her career was U.S. Bank event coordinator. So I get a professional event coordinator helping me with my events. So when she comes out of, but I just want to say thank you, Lacey. I'll try not to cry, but Lacey and I have been working together for almost 10 years, and I love this woman. Half of you in this room know Lacey. Lacey loves people. She loves to serve, and I love being a part of a team that loves helping people. Yeah, thank you, Lacey. And this is a new location. We've been here about 1.5 years. We were in Egan. So Lacey is like decorator extraordinaire. So like Lacey helped me pick the tile, the design, the logo. Like, thank you. Thank you. So you guys tonight, if you haven't seen the space, just go, this is family. So go look in the rooms. Seth, I can't say too much, but business manager, we've worked together. He worked at an accounting firm, quit his job for his wife. What kind of man does that? I don't, quit his job and he did front desk. He was the front desk when I started as a chiropractor. So hello, this is, would you like to schedule with my wife? So thank you for being so good with the behind the scenes, and he does all the stuff we don't want to do, so fixes stuff and broken things, and yeah, thank you. And thank you to everyone else on my team as well. Dr. Amy, she's the other chiropractor here. The heart connection we have, and she loves people, and I'm so thankful that God sent her to this clinic to be my chiropractor and to take care of me. Also Valerie is our acupuncturist. She's amazing. Peggy, our massage therapist, and Jasmine, who is our another assistant. I couldn't find a babysitter tonight, so she's actually at my house right now babysitting our 3 kids. So thank you, Jasmine. I'll have her listen to this later. So, first thing, I'm going to share a piece of wisdom. So yes, I have Albert Einstein. I'll explain why I have him. So one of my mentors, he's big about, it's called inverted thinking. And I do this a lot, even Lacey and I. Whenever we're solving a hard problem, we're like, all right, let's invert it, and then we solve it. So I'm going to share with you guys that. So Albert Einstein, this originated with him, and he was big about this as invert, always invert. So if you have so inverted thinking, simply put, is if you have a hard, complex problem, such as, let's throw that out here. Someone tells me right now, Amber, you're telling me, I want to be healthier. I want to have more energy. I want to sleep better. I want to get rid of pain in my body. That's a hard problem to solve. That's a big one. So let's flip it. Let's invert it. What would you do right now to be in pain, to be miserable, and do it the fastest way possible? How would you do that? So let's do an activity together. You guys, can you help me out? If I were to ask you, and Paul, I'm going to pick, he's right in front of. If you were to be pain and miserable, what's something that you would do? Anyone else can shout out. What's something right now you would do to be in pain?
Run out in the street in front of a car.
There you go. All right. I wasn't good. That's maybe not. Yes. Okay. Let's go. Run out in the street. That'll do it. That will mess up your spine, which we'll talk about in a moment. What else? What other things?
Drop something on your foot.
Drop something on your foot. Yes. Ouch. You did that this week. Oh, I'm so sorry. Ouch. Ouch. Yes.
Lift really heavy boxes.
Yes. Yes, lift really heavy boxes that you're not supposed to. Yes. Run a marathon. Oh, that would be pain and misery. Yeah, that's how you be the worst version of yourself, which, yes, that would, yeah. Anyone else have, those are? Sugar. Eat sugar all the time. Yeah, that would do it. So it probably looks something like this. So for me, what I would do if I wanted to be the worst version of myself, I would sleep 4 or less hours every day. For breakfast, I'd probably eat a bunch of donuts. Then I'd probably, if anyone wants to, for the lunch break, you can come with me. I'd go down to McDonald's and I'd get, what do you order at McDonald's? I've not eaten there in so many years. What do you order there? Like a Big Mac? It's McDonald's, right? French fries, big, the milkshakes. That was a kid. I haven't had those in years. That's what I would do. And then for dinner, I would stop at Walmart and get a microwavable dinner with lots of preservatives in it. So we can have a date night and eat that. I would be offended at everyone. Anyone that I come in contact with, I would find the worst thing about, I don't like that you said that. Or I would pick fights with Lacey, a coworker. Have we ever been in a fight? Not really. And then, I would hunch over at my desk all day and do this. And, cross my legs. I'd be all hunched over. And then at the end of the day, I'd come home to my husband and say, I'm in such a good mood. Hopefully none of you do these things. So let's invert this. Always invert. To be the healthiest version of yourself, you would sleep 7 to 8 hours every night. Who gets 7 to 8 hours a night? Kathy, good. Thank you. No one else is raising their hand. You'd make healthy choices. You'd drink lots of water every day. You would assume good intentions, and you don't take things personal. People in your life, you just do your best, and you would have good posture, and you take breaks at your computer during the day. So imagine our lives if we would do this. It'd be great. So now I'm going to go to the part. I'm going to use this whiteboard for my next part of. I'm going to tell you guys of why my mom got results in her health. And I'm going to talk some neuroscience and some brain stuff. So in chiropractic school, one of the first things that we learned about was the brain and the development of the brain. So I'm going to draw the brain right here and use my great drawing skills. So here's the brain. What's the thing that protects our brain? What's that bony structure? Cranium, that skull. So the skull that protects our brain. Then what we have is from our brain, we have all this delicate nerve tissue that goes down. So our spinal cord. Now we have bones that protect our spinal cord in our back. What are those bones called? Vertebrae. Thank you. So we have vertebrae that protect this delicate spine tissue. What are those spacers in between? What are those? Discs, yes, intervertebral discs. So we got discs in between those vertebrae. So now the brain is the master control system in our bodies, and there's different nerves that come out of all of these disc areas, and they go to different organs. So what's an organ that in our bodies? Say it again? Kidney. Yep, we got our kidneys here, maybe our heart. Got our stomach, digestive system, we got our liver, thank you. All these different organs. So the point of this is that our brain controls and regulates every cell, tissue, organ of our body. So as a spine doctor, what I'm looking for, and I've assessed about half of you in this room, what I'm looking for is any crooked, bent vertebra in the spine. And what that does when that vertebra gets off is it puts pressure on those nerves. So if there's pressure on the nerve, are those kidneys going to be healthier or sicker if you have pressure on that nerve? It's going to be sicker. Now the example here that I like to use, Christopher Reeve. Oh, this story. This is a hard one to talk about. So he played. You guys remember? He was the actor in Superman. What happened to him?
He fell off his horse.
Horse accident. So he fell off his horse, and he fractured the top two bones in our neck, so C1 and C2. When he fractured that, he severed his spinal cord. So that's not what I do as a chiropractor. If somebody severs their spinal cord, we make referrals out of if you lose muscle or... So he severed the nerve that goes to his body. And he was paralyzed from the waist down. Now, also, he not only lost muscle and nerve function in his body, he couldn't walk, he's in a wheelchair, but it affected his organs. So when he severed those nerves, he was reliant on a ventilator. He did get a lot of, he was amazing at what he did. I've studied his case a lot because in chiropractic school with knowing the nervous system, and through all the things that he did, he he got back a lot more than they thought he would. But the point of why I'm talking about this is that the brain controls everything. And as a chiropractor, I'm not looking for people, people that have severed spinal cords. That's not what I do. But what I do is I look for any misalignment in the vertebra. So here is a spine, and I can't go anywhere without a spine, right? So right in here, this is where Christopher Reeve fractured, the C1 and C2, the top two bones. Now in the cervical spine, these are all the nerves that come out of here. They go to our ears, eyes, nose, throat. This was where my mom's issue was. So she had the bottom vertebra in her neck, her C7, was twisted and rotated. And that's where she was adjusted and aligned, and it took pressure, it took interference off of her nerves when she was adjusted. And that eventually then my mom didn't have that irritation to her nerve, and she didn't get headaches and migraines. But also what happened with my mother when she got adjusted, she got out of pain, but she also noticed that her energy was better. She wasn't always in that fight or flight, that sympathetic tone part of the nervous system. So when you have something off in your spine, and even in my own body or patients, of when you're off, there's just something off, and you get adjusted, and it helps with mood, it helps with thinking, all of that. And the reason is that when you align the body, it takes pressure off all those nerves that the brain can communicate the way that God created us to do. So all these nerves here, they go to our immune system, sinuses, so adjusting the cervical spine, that helps a lot of patients with sinus issues. We also have 12 thoracic vertebrae in the middle part of the back. So those nerves go to our heart, our lungs, they go to our shoulders, down both of our hands, our fingers. We also have the lumbar spine. So we have 5 lumbar spine, we have our sacrum, and we have our pelvis. So this is our lower back right in here. When these nerves, now you guys, your son is a testimonial of mine. So Carol and Paul have a son, he played in the NFL. And when he came to see me, oh boy, did he have some fun things that I worked on but he had a very twisted sacrum, and that was causing sciatic issue in his body. So we have our sacrum here, we have our pelvis, our hips. All these nerves go to our digestive system, our bowel, our bladder. These go down the nerves into our legs, our knees, our feet. Why I'm saying this, bottom line, is when the spine is out of alignment, it messes with how our brains communicate. And brain health is the wave of the future. Who here has heard I don't really watch TV anymore. I listen to more podcasts. Who here has heard about brain health in the recent if you listen, that's what people are talking about. And so people know that the key of health is our brain. So our method that we use. So for me, when I was in chiropractic school, when I do things, I want to do them with excellence. And when we assess a patient, we're looking at 5 different things when I assess the nervous system. First thing I do is visualization. So when a patient comes to see me, I look at their posture. I look at, thank you, Paul. So I look at if someone has one shoulder higher than the other, or if they're... I look at leg length, how people walk, all of that. Instrumentation. So what's unique about our office is we have a thermal scan that I use before and after every adjustment. And what that does is it tells us about how irritated those nerves are. What is, how inflamed are those discs? That's what that instrument does. Static motion palpation, so we see the muscle tension on either side of the spine. We see if there's any abnormal movement, edema, swelling. Also X-ray analysis. So that's unique about our technique as well, is that we measure through X-ray, we see these disc spaces. So we talked about how this intervertebral disc right here, we want it to be nice and thick right here. With patients, because of, which I'll talk about in a moment, of mistakes people make and how this process happens, is that there's different phases of degeneration. There's phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. We look at an X-ray and we can see where patients are at. If it's here, and you guys see that bone on bone, this is what we don't do. So Dr. Amy and I do not adjust patients or if a spot in the spine is here, we can't move this. So if it is bone on bone and it's putting pressure on that nerve, that's not what we do. But as long as it's here over, the body can regenerate. That is what it just amazes me, the clinical data that we have. With me doing this, I've seen thousands of cases. I've taken many pre and post x-rays, and what I'm amazed at is that how God created our bodies to heal themselves. And the regeneration, now the science on the brain, we didn't know, even 5 years ago, I didn't know the neuroscience that we have now of all these labs now that are testing how the body can heal. And so how that does is when we do adjustments on the body is that it gets the body out of that sympathetic tone. It gets it out of that fight or flight, because when the body is misaligned and off and not balanced, like with my mother, she was in a constant state of survival mode. And when the body is aligned and balanced, that our bodies regenerate themselves by getting in, we call it that autonomic parasympathetic nervous system. It's the rest and repair. We're gonna have people stand up. So why don't you guys stand up for me, move around. All right, so we're now gonna teach what good posture looks like. So you guys can have a seat here for me. Lacey, we're gonna have Lacey come up so you can feel free to have a seat here. You all can, sit with Lacey. All right, there you go. This is how I teach you can have a seat for me again. My instruction giving skills, sorry about that. This is how I teach my 8-year-old daughter how to sit. And if she can get it, so can you guys. So here it is, how you sit. When Lacey sits, Lacey, I'm gonna have you lean over. I'm gonna demonstrate, I'm gonna show you how to do it. Thank you. And then you're gonna do it, sorry. And then she's gonna scoot her butt back to the back of the chair. And then she's gonna come up like this, and then her chest is up, her chin is back. I always say the double chin. That's what I'm going for. I don't want this. If you're driving and doing this, we won't say it how I usually say it, but right, I'll just say the sexy double chin. That's what we're going for here. There, we don't want people crossing their legs. So we want a 90-degree angle. Good job, Lacey. She's heard this a few times. There we go. All right. It doesn't get more simple than that. So everyone, let's watch you do it. So go ahead. You're going to lean, TJ, you're going to lean, and everyone do this. Lean over, scoot your butt back as far as you can to these chairs. And then you're going to go up. Your chest is up, your chin is back, and then relax. Just letting your shoulders drop. There you go.
Not good at that.
Yeah, not good at that.
Getting better.
You guys look great. How do you feel? Is that different? Yeah. So when you guys get in your vehicle after this, you're going to scoot your butt back to the back of the chair or back of your seat, and then you're going to, your chest up, chin back. That's a big deal of posture. The other thing I like, and a lot of people ask me, well, what causes this? What causes our spines to get out of alignment? What causes arthritis or degeneration over time? 3 types of stresses. Number 1 is physical stress. Number 2 is chemical stress, and number 3 is emotional stress. So physical stress, posture is a big one of how many of us, and I'm not perfect either, there's times when, but when you're aware of it. The other thing is I love sit-stand workstations. Who here works at a desk and has a sit-stand? Yes, handful of you in this room. So changing that. So always that you're not standing all day, you're not sitting all day, that you're alternating. The other thing is sleeping positions. That can be a physical stress, that stomach sleeping. Any stomach sleepers in the room here? That's a recovering stomach sleeper. Thank you. Side sleeping or back sleeping. So for me, even when we travel anywhere, I bring all my pillows. I have a lot of pillows. I do still have room for my husband's bed, but I'm not always sure because I have all these pillows. But I put a pillow between my knees. I hug a pillow. I have a pillow here that kind of tuck in, and then I have a pillow here for my neck because I care about my alignment. And then if I'm sleeping on my back, a lot of times I'll put a pillow underneath my knees and kind of elevate that to take pressure off the body. So side or back, stomach sleeping. A lot of people tell me is that when their neck is off, they can't, they're sleeping on their stomach because that's how it feels good. And as they get adjusted, as we move their neck, they're able to not do that. So when it's so stuck, I get it. I give them grace. But then it's like, all right, we're getting that moving, getting you aligned, and then do your best. Don't do it. Chemical stress. What we eat. We're going to serve some good food tonight. So we get to support a local business. Makes great food. Food's a big deal. My husband, Seth, he always asks me, oh, you want to go to this restaurant? And I don't like bad oils. I stay away from bad oils. And I really I don't eat a lot of sugar. That's a big deal as a chiropractor for healing the spine. Lower inflammation, that we do our best, and it's hard. I mean, we live in America. It's just standard American diet. We have to challenge that, but good healthy meat, protein, drinking lots of water, but lowering inflammation is the key. Emotional stress. So I mentioned about not being offended by people. That's a big one. I could really talk about that for a while. But just knowing boundaries and resting, that having that decompression time. So for me, when, my job is I'm with a lot of people, and when I go home, I need that time of, typically I take an Epsom salt bath every day. When I go home, I'm like, run the bath. It's like, no one talks to mama for like 30 minutes. And that's just time where I decompress, and I need that. So everyone, that looks differently for every person, but find what you need. Sleep, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. If I put that as number one, because if I want to be the worst version of myself and be in pain and miserable, I would sleep not very much. Some of my favorite things. So I talked about adjustments, and I got that from my mother as well. When you get adjusted and it impacts your mood and you feel better, that's a huge thing. We also have some other services in our office that we have infrared light therapy. Who's here tried infrared light therapy? Yes, about half of you in this room. So I like that. It complements the adjustments. Is that what it does is, we've had it for about a year now of a unit like this. It lowers inflammation. It helps circulation. It helps with recovery in the body. Some of the research that shows why light therapy works is it's a mix of red and infrared light. So what that does is it penetrates the different wavelengths of our body, and it penetrates our cells. And what that does is it stimulates with mitochondria in our body, and that produces ATP. And so it helps the body heal and regenerate. So love light therapy. We also have a massage therapist, Peggy, who's had a massage from Peggy. Anyone in this room of TJ? Oh, I love, my husband had one today and got adjusted. Perfect. And then we have an acupuncturist, Valerie, who has been with us a couple months now, and she's just wonderful. I know Paul has seen her, anyone else, Lacey. Acupuncture works well, Renee as well, works well because it does, like chiropractic, it stimulates our own body's ability to heal itself. So it works well with the nervous system and helps balance the body. Oh yeah, can't forget my foam roller. I have a foam roller beside our bed. I use it like every morning. So that's kind of I have a morning routine. It's probably about 15, 20 minutes, but I foam roll, do some breathing, just my quiet time with the Lord in the morning, but I'm a huge fan of foam rolling. My family. So this is a picture of Banff. Oh, and that was our last vacation that we went last summer. Oh, it was a great vacation there, the mountains. But I love my kids, and I want to be a good doctor to my family. And for us, for me, my core values, it's my faith is number one, then it's my family, then it's my health, then it's career. And it's in that order. And I am better when I keep it that order. So my husband, when we first met, he played in college, played football. Your spine now is so much better than when we met. Say yes if you agree with me. You know that oh boy, he married the right person as a chiropractor. But your body has healed immensely in the last, we've been married, 14 years now. But with my husband, he is an accountant, and he measures he has a ring that he measures all his heart rate variability. he said the numbers don't lie. So when he gets adjusted every week, he sleeps better, and he tracks all of that, his nervous system, of his heart rate variability. He also, I recommend for my husband, he does monthly massages, and when he gets adjusted, he does infrared light therapy. I tell him that when we're 90 and we're enjoying life, I want him to be the healthiest person, and me as well. So that's our vision. Our kiddos here, I adjust our kids bi-weekly, so twice a month. I've adjusted my kids right after they were born. I got a chiropractor mama I check their bodies, their nervous systems. I don't want anything of birth is a lot. Yeah, it's your mother was a OBGYN, right? You're or a midwife, labor and delivery nurse. So the stories that you've said of, but when they were born, I made sure that their nervous system, that they were all lined up and that their brains were communicating well with their bodies. Kids, I see a lot of babies when a lot of moms come in and bring their kids in to see me, and it's because when you balance the nervous system, their digestion is better, they're not colicky, they sleep better, nursing, they don't have restriction of the range of motion in their neck. It makes a huge difference. So my kids, for me, pregnancy, we're also specialize in pregnancy in this office. And so I've had 3 babies, and man, pregnancy aligns the pelvis. It's faster, research shows faster labor and delivery times when the baby doesn't get stuck on the pelvis. So that's why we work a lot with midwives and doulas. Yeah. So I'm going to share some testimonials. How about you guys? I'm going to share some stories of real life people who had things that interfered with the quality of their life, and they wanted it to be better. So Caitlin is my first testimonial, and Caitlin came in, she was a labor and delivery nurse. Those labor and delivery nurses, it's intense. It's not an easy, it's a lot. And when she first called in, she had instability in her cervical spine. So for her, she could not sleep. It turned into headaches, migraines. She was missing a lot of work. And she also said that her husband said she was so crabby that she needed to do something to get to the root of that. So Caitlin, after being adjusted, she now, 6-7 years now, Lacey, that she's been coming to see me. And it was a couple months where to get her neck stable, but she now has no longer neck pain, no longer turning into other things, and she's a labor and delivery nurse, and she's had 2 kids since then. So she has brought both of her babies in so she's had a little boy since then. A few days after birth, she brought him in, I checked their spines and adjusted them, and now her husband, Kyle, comes in. He's an IT guy, sits at a desk all the time. His why is his dad had back issues. So his dad always had an L5-S1 vertebra issue, and he didn't want to be, he's a lot like his father and looks a lot like his dad, and he didn't want to have back issues. So that's why he came in. So they're one of our favorites. These are Caitlin's x-rays. So part of our method is we always measure. I like to be objective with everything that I do. X-rays are a good way for me to see the blueprint of someone's spine. So I know these are kind of hard to see in this lighting, but this was Caitlin originally. She has a reverse curve here. So she should have a normal, which she does in her after. She now has a normal cervical lordotic curve. That's our brainstem right here. So if of your spine and your nerves right up in here, you don't want, I'm like, if any part of my spine, I don't want any of it off. You don't want your neck off, because when your neck is off, that's your brainstem. And I've had many patients where when their neck is off, they'll even like a tremor, and when they get adjusted, they won't have like those nerves that will calm the body. And so for her reverse curve here, which she fell out of a tree when she was little, and that's actually was the trauma. She now has a normal curve. Ebony and kids. So Ebony, she's one of my best friends. These are her precious children. She had 4 children in 5 years. That's a lot. Wow. So she started, the first time she was pregnant with her oldest son, And she was having shoulder, neck stuff, and just pregnancy stuff, feeling horrible, morning sickness, all of that. And she had read that chiropractic care could help that. She started getting adjusted, and she tells me, she's like, she now, her and her kids were adjusted on this a few days ago. She now does not have injuries from having that many children and not very long, and just overall well-being in life is why she keeps doing this and brings her kids in routinely. Carol and Ken, they're another, she is a nurse, was an oncology nurse, now retired. Ken was an engineer, so he worked for 3M, actually has a few, he invented some things. So Carol was tired of having surgeries. She had surgery here, surgeries everywhere. She didn't want to have her knees done, and that was her motivation of why she wanted to come in and get aligned. They've been, how many years, Lacey, have they been coming here? 7 years she's had no more surgeries. Her knee was very unstable. I got her pelvis level, and her knee healed because she was not walking crooked. Also, just immune system, like being a nurse, it's hard. She did, bedside nursing for many years too, so it's hard on her body. And she comes in, she says she doesn't get sick when she keeps her nervous system healthy. That communicates with the immune system, so that's a benefit. She sleeps better. Ken was having some lower back issues from sitting at a desk his whole life as an engineer, and he's also a numbers guy. So I'm like, he wants to live to be in his 90s, and he doesn't want to have debilitating pain where they can't travel, and they travel a ton now. Somebody's son. Whose son is this? Raise your hand. You don't know who he is. That's great. So this is Zach. Zach Zenner. He played 4 years for Detroit Lions, and
and 1 year just bouncing around.
And 1 year bouncing around. Zach is an intense individual. There's no one that I've ever met quite like their son. And he's got a heart of gold. He's a good man, and he's a good father. On Monday night, he got adjusted, and his 3 boys he brings in. So Zach is... he came, I remember the first time I met him, he was having shooting sciatic pain. And this is from all the traumas, all the physical stress that he had on his body. And it was his sacrum. So it was this bone right down in here that, he had a pretty crooked sacrum bone. And he was starting, now yes, he has, and he said I can share any of this, he has what we call a spondy. So he broke his back. So he has some arthritis, and that is what it is. But through adjusting him on new x-rays that I've taken, he started here. He's regenerated his spine through we can move, as long as it's not bone on bone, through moving the vertebra and taking pressure. Those discs can regenerate. Our brains can regenerate, our muscles, our discs, and he now is here in his spine. And for him, he wanted to be active with his boys. I think about 3 years ago, he came to see me, and he said that 11 different chiropractors. I mean, every NFL team they have a chiropractor, they have an outside chiropractor, he said, I was one of 2 doctors that ever accurately diagnosed him. And for him, it can't be cookie cutter. It has to be specific. And so I found exactly where the root of the issue was, and I've adjusted him. And he tells me he is a person that the truth and accuracy, and that matters. I'm going to ask about how you raised this young man tonight, but so results, and that's why he keeps seeing me, because he gets value in his life. And this lady right here, her name is Melanie, and this is the most influential person in my life, and this is my mom. So this is my mom at my chiropractic graduation. And my mom, she went through a journey it wasn't until her later 20s that she figured out all her health stuff. And my mom is healthier now, in her 60s. She'd kill me if I said her age, but mid-60s. She's healthier now, she says, than when she was in her later 20s. And a lot of it was because of her spine and because her nervous system isn't in fight or flight mode constantly anymore. So tonight, we'll close with this, is that if any of you have never had your spine and nervous system assessed, I would be honored. I'd be honored to do that. My mom, with having her body balanced, she got rid of her pain, but the reason she kept coming routinely to a chiropractor was because of the effects on her brain, because of her mood, her energy. It improved the quality of her life. I want to offer you tonight, normally for a new patient to come see me, includes a consultation exam, any x-rays that are needed. It's normally $280. By us being here tonight, we're doing that for $49. We're also, for you guys to try it and have a fun experience, we're throwing in a complimentary light therapy session for you as well, so you can experience the benefits of that. Lacey will come around as you're eating, and we'll have open appointment times, and if you schedule, she'll give you a coupon for that. I want to leave you with one last thought, and that is, no, it's not inverted thinking, but we can maybe tie this in, but adding in chiropractic adjustments will not only make you happier and healthier now and protect your body and spine, but it will also make you happier and healthier in the future. Thank you.